Hello, welcome back to Ace Advice. I hope you guys are all doing well. Did you guys notice the hair? Yeah, I cut my hair a lot. So this is the new look now. Yeah. Okay, so today I am doing the Q&A video. I got so many questions, so I'm so excited to answer all of them. Let's go to the first question, shall we? So the first question I have is, Amherst is in snowy New York, right? How do you keep motivated to find ways to play in the winter? Actually, Amherst is in Amherst, Massachusetts, which is pretty much the dead center of Massachusetts, I think. It's very rural, kind of farmy. So, in terms of finding ways to play during the winter, yeah, in Amherst it gets very cold, very snowy, very icy too. You fall a lot. If you don't fall, you don't go to Amherst. Like, you're gonna have to slip and fall at some point. In our gym, we have the cage, which is kind of track material, but it's kind of feels like you're playing on a clay court. So the ball is very slow, bounces a little bit higher. And yeah, it's definitely a different surface than normal hard court, but usually that's what you play on in the winter. We also sometimes drive to Hampshire College, which is about 10 minutes away. They have really fast hard courts there. So during season, we drive there and we do practices there until the weather's nice enough where we can go back outside. In terms of motivation, I would say that I want to always play my best because when you're training, even in the off season, you're training for season. You're always practicing 100% at every single practice because you know that when you're in season, you have to be playing well. So you have to always put in your best effort in the off season to play well during season. That answers your question. The next question is, what's it like playing college tennis? There's so much to go into this. I would say the first thing, and obviously I'm very fortunate that this is the case for me, but playing college tennis is so fun because you're playing with literally a group of friends. Your teammates are your friends. And on my team, we have about 12 people. So that's, 11 friends right there, just right then and there, immediate friend group. And it's so much fun to play with all of them. On top of just playing tennis with your friends, it's obviously you have to have amazing time management skills because, especially if you do extracurricular activities, like I do a cappella also, you really have to manage your time well. You have to understand that you're going to have to fit in a cappella practice, tennis practice, and write, an essay or do all your readings or problem sets or whatever math people do. I'm in history, so I don't really know, but you have to fit everything in every single day. So you have to make sure that you have really good time management skills. And I would say that freshman year of college, you're going to make a lot of mistakes, and that's kind of what the learning process, I think. Like, I definitely did not manage my time as well as I should have my freshman year. But then sophomore year, I, already learned all my mistakes freshman year, so I was so much better my sophomore year on like how to manage my time, when to say no to people, when you think that you do have the time to go hang out with people. You kind of mature a little bit in that way also. I mean, honestly, that those are really the two things. What's it like playing college tennis? I'm playing with my friends and I have really good time management skills. I feel like those are the two most basic things that I can think of. And I think at the end of the day, I think the biggest difference about college tennis is that it's no longer junior tennis. Junior tennis was a stressful time. You were always traveling. It felt very individual because it was, right? You were playing for yourself and to get into college. But once you're in college, you're playing for your team and you're representing your school. So it's a much different feeling, and it honestly motivates you. Like that question that I had earlier about how do you stay motivated? That's another motivation. You're playing and you're representing your school, and you want your school to look good. So you're gonna fight really, really hard and work really hard. And I think that's something that's also different about college tennis than junior tennis. I could talk about, the college tennis experience for forever, but I think that's a pretty sufficient answer for right now. The next question is, how did I get recruited? So I had a very interesting recruiting process because my sister was 2 years older, so she was going through it when I didn't have to yet, but I kind of saw how it was supposed to go. So she was looking at the same schools that I knew that I was going to look at. Honestly, she kind of did my research for me, which was nice. Um, But so you pretty much go to these showcases, right? You go to like this Yale showcase, Harvard showcase. There was a New Balance tournament for high school players. And college coaches go to those tournaments. And what you do is you just literally go up to coaches and you just talk to them, like obviously with the colleges that you want to go to. You just have conversations with them, get their contact information, and then start having an email correspondence with them. Well, so also the recruiting process is different for D1 and D3 teams. I think when you're able to start talking to a coach is different. But once you do have the ability to start talking to them, talk to them as much as you can. Don't be afraid to be a squeaky wheel. It's actually, you want your name to be in their head over and over again so that when they see you in a draw or something, they go to your court and watch your match. So that's what I did. I emailed coaches. I was in correspondence with them. I was looking at both D1 and D3, but after my sister was going through the process, I also realized that D3 was a better fit for me because it's more of a balance with academics and athletics, and I wouldn't have to, train so many hours a day in tennis. I could just, do 2 and be fine. So yeah, I was looking at D3 schools in the Northeast because I was from Arizona and I wanted to get out of there. So I was looking in the Northeast, and Amherst just was a really nice fit. I loved the coach Jackie Bagwell, and we've known each other for years since my sister was going through the process too and was looking at Amherst, and it just felt like the perfect fit. So I went to a doubles camp and at Amherst, and I pulled Coach Bagwell aside and I was like, hey, just so you know, Amherst is my number one choice. And she pretty much said that if I applied early decision, I would probably get in and I would have a spot on the team. So yeah, I committed there. I was still 16, I was 16. It was about 2 weeks before my 17th birthday, which is crazy. But yeah, no, I committed very early and I do not regret my decision at all. Obviously, there's a lot more that goes into the recruiting process with like your standardized testing. I did not take the ACT, I only took the SAT, but that's just because I knew that that was more of my strength, was more of the SAT kind of stuff. But yeah, make sure you study for those. I think you need a good score to get into good schools. If you have any individual questions about Amherst or just the recruiting process in general, feel free to DM me or ask me questions on the Ask Me a Question thing on my About Me highlight, and I will definitely make sure to answer all of them. Who is your favorite pro? All right, this is the easiest question of all time. Rafael Nadal. He's literally, I don't even have words to explain how perfect he is. Not only is he a lefty and I'm a lefty, but a fun fact about him is he's pretty much a righty actually, but he was trained to play tennis lefty. His coach, Uncle Tony, knew that it would put him at a great advantage if he played lefty, so there you have it. But he's also just so cute. I don't know. I wrote him like a few love letters when I was younger. I've asked him to marry me, blah, blah, blah. The usual. In Spanish class in high school, my name was Rafaelita because obviously, why would it be anything else? Yeah, that's a basic answer. Rafael Nadal. I think I can probably talk for hours about how I think he's better than Federer. I love Federer too, but Nadal's better. I'm sorry. Stop talking about this or else the video is just going to be about that. Best part about being on a team. Well, like I said earlier, pretty much my closest friends are my teammates. So I get to be with my friends all the time. I get to play a sport that I love with my friends all the time. I get to have socials with them all the time. It's just like amazing. Like I would never not want to be on a team like my Amherst women's tennis team. Yeah. Is there a tennis player that you look up to, try and emulate their style of play? Well, obviously Nadal. In terms of emulating their style of play, I definitely did actually, try to emulate Nadal's style of play when I was younger. But then I switched to a semi-Western forehand grip instead of extreme Western, and I definitely started hitting a lot flatter and harder. So then I kind of looked at different players, and I have a few answers, but I think I have one in mind that I want to talk about. I don't know if I'm pronouncing her first name correctly, but Agnieszka Radwanska. I think that she retired now. She's retired, but she had such an amazing style of game. She always drop shotted, sliced, outsmarted her opponents. I just loved her game. try to actually fit a highlight in the next clip so you can see kind of her style of play. I love my drop shot. I love my slices. I will be slicing a lot of my matches, and I just loved watching her play. She always gave Serena such a hard time because she was so unpredictable with her shot selection. So I would say I emulate her style of play a lot. The next question is, why did you pick D3? Well, I picked D3, like I said earlier, because of the balance of athletics and academics. D3 has certain rules about how long you can play. So at Amherst, it's about 2 hours, and then you can do like maybe an hour of lift also that day. But it really gives you enough time to explore all the other things that college has to offer, which I appreciate so much. I also am fairly injury prone, and so having the ability to not have to train so many hours a day and have such a toll on my body is also super nice for me, because if I had to train a lot, I really don't know if my body would be able to keep up with it. Also, if you pick a D3 school in a really good division, it's almost playing D1 level. So if you're still looking for really good competition, don't think D3 is easy, because it's not. I played tons of national tournaments in juniors. I was 5-star, blah, blah, blah. D3 is hard. If you're looking right now at colleges, I actually really recommend D3. Question: what do your practices look like during the pandemic? Well, I am really trying to keep it safe right now, but I do have my sister with me, which is so nice. So we just go to a court, and then we usually just hit down the middle, then cross courts, and then volleys overheads, and then we play points. So pretty much getting all your strokes in, and then, practicing point play. Something that's actually super important that I highly recommend: you can hit rallies all day, get 1,000 in a row, 2,000 in a row, 100 in a row, but when it comes to a point, it's different. You can be as consistent as you want in rallies, but once there's a point, there's so much more pressure and stress that it's easier to miss pretty much. So make sure when you practice, you have a good balance of both rallying and point play. Next question is, best drills to improve footwork. So this is actually a great question. So what I'm gonna do is just do a separate video for that question, so stay tuned for that later. All right, let's see what's next here. Ooh. What is your advice on how to recover after an especially long match? I had my fair share of especially long matches in juniors. That I think all tennis players can agree on is that immediately after you play a match, you're not necessarily hungry, but just super thirsty all the time. In terms of like drinking and eating, I would say that make sure you really hydrate after a really long match, and then wait till you get hungry, because your hunger will kick in just probably like 30 minutes or an hour after you play, and then go eat a pretty good amount, because you probably burn like 1 billion calories. Honestly, like, don't eat junk food, like eat food that's nutritious for you and that will replenish your vitamins and electrolytes, pretty much everything that you sweat off when you played. Also, immediately after you play, make sure you stretch. This was a super crucial mistake that I made in juniors, and why I got injured when I was 15, because that was the age when I got super lazy and decided, oh yeah, I'll stretch, and I did like quad stretches, and then I was like, oh yeah, no, I'm good. You're not good. Sure that you're fully loose and stretched after you play, because any tight muscle or knots or anything will turn into an injury. I had way too many annoying injuries just because I didn't stretch. That's kind of the main thing. Make sure that you hydrate, eat when you're hungry, eat nutritiously, and then also make sure that you really stretch, and also take off your tennis shoes. They're going to be disgusting. Wear flip-flops or sandals or whatever, air your feet out. Yeah, just make sure that you just take care of yourself, really. Question is, what were you looking for in a coach and team when choosing a college? So in terms of a coach, I wanted a coach that appreciated the type of player that I was. And honestly, that's pretty much it. You don't want a coach that wants to change who you are, whether it's extracurriculars or on the court. My coach absolutely is amazing when it comes to this. When I first got to college and I started pursuing music and singing, she texted me saying that she's so happy that I'm pursuing other hobbies and that, I should always follow my passions. On the court, she doesn't try to change how I play. She just improves how I play. Every tip that she gives me is how to improve my own style of game. That's an important piece of advice. Don't let your college coach change who you are, whether that's on or off the court. In terms of choosing a team, it's really important that you do those college visits. I know it's hard right now, but when you have the chance, make sure you do them because you can really get a good feel of the type of people on the team, if there's like weird tension, if they're nice, if they care about you, ask you questions, don't ignore you when you're sitting at, the table with them eating a meal. When a team really enjoys being together, you can really see it. There were certain schools I went to where I could feel like it was very forced that they all had to sit together with me. But then other schools I went to, it felt very natural, nice, and I was like, yeah, this seems like a really fun group of girls. It also does help when they share similar values to you. Obviously, it's D3, so they're not like all trying to go pro. I still cared that they like enjoyed tennis and played tennis, to the best of their abilities every time, and that it wasn't just something like a chore to them. I really wanted to be on a team where they enjoyed playing as much as I do. Next question is, how do you deal with a noisy audience rooting for your opponent? Really great because in junior tennis, this wasn't really a thing, but in college, it really is. Especially if you're playing a rival school and you're at an away, so you're at their school, all their friends and family are cheering so loud against you, and it's honestly very frustrating. I love when that happens to me. When I get frustrated when my opponent's being cheered on or something like way too loudly or annoyingly, I get very motivated and I play so much better because I want to prove them wrong. Because it is a team sport, your teammates will be there to also support you and cheer you on. And that's a great thing about college. You actually have teammates cheering you on, while in juniors, it's usually like your parents like stressing you out and like, come on, you got this. So I think I answered all the questions on here. Obviously, I gave very brief answers because I wanted to fit them all in one video, but I could talk about each topic for hours on end. But please comment with any other questions you want me to answer in future Q&A videos. I hope these answers were interesting to you in some way and helpful. I hope I gave some good advice interspersed in my interesting comments. I can't wait to get more questions in the future to discuss their answers. Does that even make any sense? So don't forget to like and subscribe, and I can't wait to discuss more topics in future videos.